Hey, live in the garden. So it says I'm a minute early to give us a chance to all get in our places with bright, shiny faces. Today might be a little bit short. I'm losing my voice a little bit. It's getting kind of rough. And nobody shows up, then I won't have to use it. But I know you're going to show up because you always do. And tomorrow, you're for sure going to want to show up, and I'll talk about it again and again. We're having a lilac in the garden. We're having the lilac lantern in the garden tomorrow. So, we're going I talked to Andre already today. We've kind of got some things lined out. It's going to be a really good show. I think you're going to enjoy it. Hi, Ronnie. Two viewers, and Ronnie's in the house saying hi. Thank you for letting me know you're there. Um, and like I just said, I think today might be kind of a short show. I already did a couple readings this morning. I have one more this afternoon, and my voice is kind of giving out. So we're going to try to get through what we need to get through. And if you have questions, get them in now. Nobody put anything in questions. Nobody put questions in the community chat. And I've, ugh, I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's been an interesting few days. I've talked to several people, well, several. In the last 3 weeks, I've talked to 3 people. One's a client, one's a close friend, and one's a woman that I actually read yesterday. And all sorts of people are going through some really funny awakening kind of experiences right now. They're feeling a little out of body. They're knowing things they should know, but amazingly, after they just surrender to it and say, "Okay, that's it. Now I know what I need to do," and they start to move forward, their whole lives start to change and fall into place. In the case of one of the women, it was an absolute miracle, and everything just rolled right into place. It was great for her. So, if uh, so we're going to talk more about that tomorrow because Andrea and I have done a lot more talking back and forth about Ascension 4D, 5D. What do the shifts mean? How do you feel them? What's going on around them? And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow because today, the topic, well, the stone I picked, you get to watch it anyway. My crystal of the day is Aquamarine, and it's really pretty. Most of the Aquamarine I've ever worked with are small, what they call chips. I use a lot of Aquamarine to help with if something looks like star energy or it needs that kind of pull in because it means communication. Aquamarine needs communication. It in bigger chunks it can We're doing fine, Alicia. I know when I live in the middle of a city and our phones do weird things. Um, Aquamarine is good for cleansing, emotional and body, and things physically within your body. It has a very gentle energetic change, and it's primarily focused on the heart and the throat chakra. And Aquamarine is it brings emotional if you're working with emotions, and you can work with just little chips when you're doing this because in case you don't know, with stones, size doesn't matter. If you have a bigger stone, it's not going to make it work any harder or better for you. It's really what you want to have it do. I mean, it's the energetics. So size does not matter. The reason it helps you in assisting you to understand old thought patterns that are stuck in your head. You know, things that you just can't get past. And to move those gently in a forward motion. And it starts by cleansing your heart, and then it goes to the throat chakra. And the throat chakra is for your voice. It's the voice of your body. It's the pressure valve where the energy comes out of all your chakras so it can be expressed. And this is really good for opening up the throat chakra and the heart chakra also. And the heart chakra regulates your interaction with the external world. So it's how your internal world goes to the external world. It's when it's in balance, we're relaxed and accepting to interact easily with others. When the heart chakra is out of balance, you may feel like you're either controlling other people or you're being controlled. So this, if you have those kind of energy imbalances, find some aquamarine. You can find some really nice little chips of it. Like I said, size doesn't matter. So, and that will help you. And once again, that information came from the Crystal Healing reading cards. Okay. Morning to everybody, except it's afternoon here now. And this may be a very short show unless y'all have a lot of questions, because there's a major squaring of planets, and this may be why people are feeling exhausted. Saturn squaring Uranus. Uranus is opposite the moon, and it's forming a T-square, and they're releasing, well, the moon's in Leo, I think. But anyway, it's all fixed signs. It's all and they're 4 fixed signs, and when they, if you look at this horoscope, if you look at your horoscope as a wheel, and you drew lines through all these, they'd all cross each other. They make a cross, and they release. There's no planets in Scorpio to play with these guys, and so the release is going out through Scorpio. Yeah, everything's gonna. This is gonna kind of unfreeze things because we're in a lot of fixed signs. There's like no water out there. It's nothing to sort of slow it down. Okay, we're gonna look at Ronnie's first, and her question today is: why do I get overwhelming impulses that later connect to actual events? I was compelled to reciting the rosary for about 2 weeks. Then my neighbor had a pilgrimage. Okay, you're talking about synchronicities here. I'm going to put the thing. So we're going to see about how you tie together with your synchronicities. What's going on around Ronnie and synchronicities? Oh, because you're very psychic. I mean, duh. You have your values in the Tree of Life, which is a wonderful place to have it. You are great at recognizing the abundances beyond the physical. You will learn to live with the world in harmony. That's setting the whole pace for this. And what it's saying is you're just becoming aware of it. It's emerging out of the earth. It's growing towards you. You're beginning to become aware of it. You've got some past energy that we're your spirit. I'm going to go read this stone next, and it's a spirit, and it says that you have missed you've missed it. The transformation's already happened for you, and it's in fire, and that says thoughts from the past are clouding. I think in the past you've had these for a long time, and I think in the past you were taught to dismiss them, and that's why they seem weird to you, but you need to pay attention to these because these are synchronicity. And then your clarity is coming from your path forward, is coming through the earth. These things are emerging for you. Your mind's getting into a much better space to deal with all this. And you're coming to some final resolutions in your own mind. When you do that, it'll move forward. this theoretically, this stone would move forward, and you'd feel more comfortable with it. But this is what you're supposed to do when you get that in the Tree of Life. That's what it says. Marge wants to know if she should try to professionally use my mediumship gifts to help others. Well, I don't know what you mean by professional, but if you mean charging for it, I'll explain that after I throw the stones. But we're going to see the situation around your mediumship and gifts for helping with others. Well, you have been in this forever. I mean, you came in knowing this, and it's now really growing out of your root chakra. You're getting clear about who you are. The value stone between the path forward and false means you're locked in kind of an argument with your values about going ahead and doing this. Your values need to be reconsidered, but they really are the path forward, and more abundance can be created for you and for other people. The future, I see your spiritual gifts coming out because you've got the future in air, and you've got the spirit stone there. And so that's really positive for you. It says to be part of the transmutation and be part of this progress as it moves forward. Your body is in water, which means you need to learn how to ground yourself. I think you have some concerns about going out and doing this and not being totally grounded as you should be, and that is a concern. And then your brain is in fire. Don't become tied to false energies from the past. You've got this stone. You need to move this guy over here and say, this is my path forward, and be clear about it. Now, if you're talking about should you charge people to do your mediumship, yes, and I will tell you why. I learned a long time ago that when I did readings that were just freebies, I mean, I'm not against doing readings that are freebies to help people learn. And I'm doing these right now for y'all free, basically, unless you want to contribute, because I need to understand the board. And every time I read one of your questions, I learn more. But if you're going to go actually out and you want to use your mediumship gifts and you don't want to lose them, I'll tell you this right up. You need to come up with some way that you get energy back from them. And in our culture, we know that that's money generally, or something of similar value. So I always tell people, when I teach tarot, I go out and practice on your friends because they're helping you learn. That's the exchange. But when people come up and want you to read them all the time and they don't want to pay you and they just want to use your gifts, they will drain you. And there's an image in the tarot of a chariot, and the guy's got a right horse and a left horse. And if the right is your doing side, generally if you're right-handed, left is the receiving. If you don't keep those in balance, your chariot won't move forward. It'll go in a circle. So if you're thinking about should I charge, you should figure out something that is a compensation that's fair for the amount that you're giving. I hope that makes it clear. Okay, that's why Saturn is square the moon, because Saturn is square Uranus and Uranus is in Taurus. Yeah, and it's just a very worrying time when you have a lot of major energy up there fighting over ourselves. We're not always quite sure why we're out of sorts, but that can be a big part of it. Oh, well, go take care of your friend. We'll send love and light to your friend and to you for the good grace to go help and be a helper. Oh, okay, we're going to do the situation about bombers, people who are trying to disrupt psychic readings. Because psychic readers are telling the truth and bringing truth into things. Water and fire. Okay, it's because the readers are saying things in a way, even though it's for entertainment purposes only, that it's moving people. When we speak from our heart and we tell the truth, Even if it's for entertainment purposes only, people sense it's really the truth. So, and they're afraid that this is going to become a long-term pattern. People are going to understand, and it's going to grow, that people are going to not just rely on the corrupt sources of news, as I view it, that the people who would do that sort of thing to stop news from going forward. Air. Thoughts are all important, and with readers clarifying the past and the present and the future, and our spirit being clearly in the future, we're where things are moving to. They are where things have been, and we're transmitting the truth. That's why they're out there doing it. They want to block the truth. Now, whether they want to block the truth because they have religious and spiritual objections to what we say is one thing, or whether they are saying it because they don't like the fact that there are readers out there that are conservative as hell. As a matter of fact, I had one woman who counseled with me, and she told me, I think I'm going to go in that direction because there's just clearly a market for it. And if you're going to bend your readings to what you think the market wants to hear, most time I'll watch readers and I'll see if they're really reading from what's on the cards or on the board or in the divination or in the crystal meaning, whatever, or if they're just throwing their own opinion in there. There are some readers that I think they're not reading, they're just saying what they think, and you can kind of tell the difference. Oh, good. Well, I hope Lois is having a good time today, too. Okay, yet again, release the messages that told me to be quiet because I don't know what I was talking. Yeah. Yes, release the messages that told me to be quiet because I don't know what I'm talking about. That's the folks that are out there. Margelle, thank you. Yeah, move forward, Marge. I mean, it's kind of the truth. You get what you pay for. If people do it for free and don't ask anything back, they're draining themselves and they're using up their energy. Is Chicago having earthquakes? Okay, you want to know about, will there be unlikely earth changes in unlikely places? Well, that took forever. I mean, that rolled around before it got to that one. It was looking for that space. I think and all the other stones ended up in earth, which is really kind of odd since we're talking about the earth changing. What we got in the earth? The throat chakra says, speak your truth, and everything will be fine. And that also means for us to speak the truth to the planet and offer it healing so that it doesn't decide to flip us off like a bunch of fleas. Spirit's right in the middle. Spirit's going to transform everyone's thinking. That's what I was saying. We need thoughts. Like I said, some things are going to be seen that we have not known that happened before, but they may have always kind of been there subtly, but not really. So the Spirit is opening us up to not let always what we thought was happening in the past cloud us. Our clarity. Your thoughts are becoming clearer, but they're being, many paths are ahead, and we're going to find that there's more than one way out of this mess, and the earth might shake a little bit to prove the point. The body in earth says, okay, that stone means physical changes are coming. That's exactly what's on the sheet. But it says that it's not going to really hurt us as much as we might think. More is coming towards us. So this says that a lot of the reason we're going to see and sense things is because we haven't had the sensors to do it. Clarity is going to help us, but this says physical changes are really coming. This being in the throat, we need to be able to speak the truth, and our minds will be able to handle it. So it's going to be nothing that's going to blow us all up. It's just going to be tricky. Trust me, I grew up in Chicago, and then I lived in Texas, and we never had earthquakes till they started fracking here. And now they made them stop fracking. And I don't live where we used to have the earthquakes anyway, but that's weird, guys. How can you live in California and have the ground move underneath you? Yes. For those, we come up with the word synchronicity again. Okay. Yeah, I could tell you a whole lot about bombers that bomb websites and things, because that's what my son does. He does not bomb the websites. His job is computer security, to keep them from bombing websites and doing things like that. And he said a lot of it's just rogue people. He does not do that because at the professional levels he's at, it's in his contracts. He can't work with rogue groups doing anything. Even it would be things I would think, yeah, go find some person's information, dig around, see where they've planted information, but he doesn't do any of that. But synchronicity is a big part of what that's one of the first things you see when you start to become aware that there's all this energies working with us. Let me see, Spirit of... Okay, it's 2 questions, Autism Mom. The first one we're going to answer about is the situation about the trip to San Antonio. Okay? Third eye. This is your outlier, so this is the first one we're going to read. You have some real strong intuitions about this trip. I think some of it's hesitancy. But the way the trip lines up, you're headed in the right direction, but things are going to get clearer for you. Their physical changes are going to happen, which I don't know if that means they're going to feel like they're better about the Delta variant and spreading it around, or worse. Then you got air. Right in the middle of air. Use your mind to know how to go ahead and be abundant. And your clarification is on a nexus of a bunch of points. So, clarification gets... Ideas are correct. That's true. Water is... You have the clarity. You will have the clarity you need, but you're going to have several different paths that are going to appear to you before you get to make that trip. Then you also have air, and this once again reassures you that your thoughts need to be clear. You have the future, which means it's ideas. The way you handle it right now and think about it is going to help it flourish. You have crown. Enlightenment. When the stone falls here, things will become clear, and you have the tree of life. Your path is blessed with clarity and wisdom. What I see is you don't know enough yet to know what's going on. Changes are still happening within that realm, but when you make the decision to go, you're going to be clear as a bell about it. And I think your intuition's telling you right now this probably isn't going to happen. And you're kind of wondering about following that as far as planning. I think I'd plan it up to the last day and then look at things very, very carefully when you went there. And will he be able to see his dad in the nursing home? Spirit rolled out of heart and love. You've got a couple of split decisions. Once again, this almost fell in exactly the same place as before, which means all the things I told you about clarity. But by then, the situation will have moved enough for you to be able to make a decision. Things are going to be more grounded, and there's going to be more information to really help you go forward. This is the part that's going to be kind of a problem. You've got earth and air. Thoughts are all important to you at this time, and mental actions will tell you how to go ahead with abundance. But the earth is saying things are coming forward. Things are just not here yet. The final thoughts on this situation are coming. It's just the information isn't here yet. It's kind of where all of us are. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. So I think things are just too much in flux to be able to tell you honestly, Mom. It looks like it's a strong possibility, but you need to be ready to make changes and be flexible as possible. Well, I grew up in Chicago, and I never saw anything like a tsunami. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. But like I've told you before, the board is not a yes-no place. It's a what are the likely patterns, and the patterns are that no matter what comes up, we'll be able to handle it. So there could be an earthquake in Chicago, but I think it'd be interesting to see how they handle it, because Chicago is built on a swamp. The word Chicago actually means river onion. It's like a river garlic that grew in that spot. So it's on not very solid land. It's on a spongy kind of land, sort of like Mexico City. I know, Ronnie, when I was in college, there was a girl from California that was in the dorm with me, and we had a horrible storm one night, and she was absolutely and utterly freaking out. She was sure it was a tornado. It was just a really bad thunderstorm. And then I understood that we all learned to live with what we grew up with. But I can tell you, as a kid who grew up on solid ground, the ground shaking under me freaks me out every time. Okay, we're going to ask about the situation around Angelita's housing. Ew, throat. I think you kind of really like where you are, and you're comfortable enough, and so it's not that big a deal. That's what I think Spirit's saying right here in fire. Yeah, you're kind of, there's things about your house you really, really do like, but you've got the other outlier stone is the throat chakra clarity. Ideas and wisdom around this are going to flow freely. So as soon as you open your intuition up to it, fine. And you're going kind of a nice progression here. Your body's in air. And that's telling me that once you get grounded, your mind spreads between two incredibly powerful chakras, the crown chakra and the tree of life. That's not really a chakra. That's just a harmony point. But your mind you're opening yourself to great guidance, and the position of your mind will need a little bit of changing. I think that goes back to the spirit question here, and the tree of life. This has been called fool's gold, and it is not a deception because it's still powerful, just as pyrite. But it recognizes the abundance beyond the physical. Learn the lessons of harmony. I think some part of you energetically is still tied to your house, but this one is a deal for you if you want it. Your intuition has to get grounded and feel like it's the right thing. Okay. She wants to know about her mother, so we're going to get the deck out that does that. There it is. I knew it was here somewhere. You guys are so lucky you don't get to look at the mess that's beside my desk. Oops. And you just kind of boosted your past some people. Wait a minute. I want to get back to Mama. From my mama. Mama? Okay, I guess this is your female parent figure. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for this. If you haven't seen these before, this is the James Van Praagh Talking to Heaven deck. It's really lovely. I've had a couple friends get it during COVID because they had so many people passing and they wanted to see what was happening around them. And we want to see Sutafine. We will be together again. And the vibration behind the we will be together again in his mind, when he wrote it, because our souls are intertwined, she's part of your soul pod, in other words, by shared missions, unfinished business, we're destined to be together again. For now, I will be with you in my non-physical form, functioning as a guide and loving companion. While I can't give the guidance that God or an angel would, I will lend you my support and strength to protect you. Once your life is complete, we will reunite in spirit form. I will remind you of the ways of the wondrous and non-physical world. She's going to be your guide into the next life when you cross over. I can tell you now that there's nothing to fear about dying, yet you must live your life completely in order to fulfill your mission. So whatever it is, get on it, girl. When the time is right, you and I will be together as we were in our physical lives, and one that will be perfectly orchestrated to help us have our spiritual growth. And it's a lovely message. She sounds like a great lady. If you look at what's in this picture, it's people that are sailing off into the ocean on canoes in a very tranquil manner. I hope that gives you some peace. She's waiting. She's been gone 10 years, but time over there is a little different than time here as I understand it. And maybe it doesn't seem like 10 years to her. I'm sure it does to you at times. Yeah, well, I admire people that live where earthquakes are. And you're right. Every place you choose to plant this physical body is going to have its challenges, and it's going to have its pluses and its minuses. There are some places you will go to, though, and you will feel much more attuned to it. Yeah, Andrea, you just want to have the whole gamut of all of the weird things that can possibly happen to you. Before I put it on again. Yeah, Alicia, amethysts are really powerful, especially up in the upper part of your body. Not have you talk to my hands. On the upper part of your body, and they can make a difference. There's two things you should do with that crystal. One is you should cleanse it, which I mean sage it. You can clap your hands over it sharply and just say, clear the energy so the stone is just a stone. And then wear it briefly again and see if that still happens. That can sometimes happen. It may be a very powerful stone for you to wear. And yeah, I know the weather in Wisconsin's been nuts. One of my best friends from school that I've known over 50 years is up there. No, I think you pick your poison. If you live where there are earthquakes, you earthquake proof your house. If you live where water's running out and you can afford to put in a false lawn, put a false lawn in, or just let it go back to nature. I live where it's usually blisteringly hot. This summer it was not, but then the trade-off for that was we had lots more pollen because the plants continue to pollinate because they're blooming. So it's kind of one of those, it's always something, and each one is a lesson for us to learn from. How should they? Yeah, well, Were those government schools or were they run by the church? Because I think the one I read about in the States was run by the church. And it's not like they haven't known about it for years, and it's not like, I don't want it to be ignored either. I think that it's something that should be clearly faced up to. I mean, there's all kinds of ugliness in our past and history, but to do that to children is just, to me, unconscionable. Good, I'm glad you like the card. Reparations for the indigenous should not just come from the government, it should come from the Catholic Church that ran most of those places. They've got the money to do it. If there's a way to figure that all out, they should do it. I'm not above reparations, but I think people need to not just sort of sweep it under the rug and say it didn't happen. I saw a documentary about a guy tracing his roots, and it was from an Australian DNA program. And he ended up in Holland, in the Netherlands, and it ends up that his ancestors had owned a slave plantation in the Netherlands. One of the places they owned in South America, it was a sugar plantation. And he went in the middle of Amsterdam. There is a wonderful, marvelous contemporary sculpture acknowledging that the country of the Netherlands had slaves and it enslaved people, and acknowledging that stain on their history. It's a really powerful statue, and it very plainly kind of shows that kind of disruption. We don't have too much of that in this country, and we have a lot more of it than they had in the Netherlands. And there are people who say you shouldn't wear an opal unless it's your birthstone. I don't know that I necessarily aspire to that. I had an opal and it got lost. I don't know where it went, but opal is actually a stone, as a stone means joy. And it has joy in the cosmos. It can lighten you up. It can relax you. It's also a relatively fragile stone because it's made out of sediments. But the meaning of an opal means allows you to experience love, joy, pure essence of the soul. It was used in the Aboriginal daydream ceremonies to support and strengthen vision quests. It activates the thymus and allows you to enter into sacred space of love. But if you don't react well to it, don't mess with it. Your cousin, yeah, tornadoes are freaky. They will take everything around them. I don't know if you saw the hurricane picture from the Gulf Coast several years ago, but this whole beach community was blown away except one house, and it looked like someone had dropped a perfect house in a bunch of broken up houses. Oh, you want to see about okay, let's see the situation for Kathy G around the girls' camping group. Oh, you'll have a good time. You like these people. There's a good balance of personalities in it. As long as you physically feel up to the rigors of sort of camping. There's camping and there's glamping. I don't know how camping you guys are going to be doing. But this is good for you. The air, your brain and air thoughts are all important, and you've got clarity and values in earth. And More will be brought forward. There's going to be some more information that's going to come to you that'll make it clearer for you. Oops, I didn't show you the stones, did I? Well, and you have the clarity you need. Follow one of the many paths. There's going to be a couple different ways that trip can be put together, but it looks really good, and it's your spirit's in your heart. I think this is something it's something you would really, really enjoy. Tent camping. Okay, I think it. There's. I think you're going to enjoy it. I mean, it's something you like the adventure of. There might be something attached to the. Alicia wants to know about the amethyst. There might have been some energy attached to the stone itself. That's why I'm saying cleanse the stone, or try wearing it again and see if you get the same weird headache. Then you know it's on the stone, and then you're going to have to cleanse the stone. Um, all I can tell you is when I build my crystal grids, you can feel energy that's created around all of those stones that are in the balance of that grid. And but you kind of need to get you need to experiment with it and see if it's comfortable or not. Well, I would cleanse the stone because that would take care of the problem. Why did it make you sick the first time? I don't know what energy's in the stone, and I'm not a long distance Reiki healer for stones. If it continues to feel bad to you, don't wear it. I mean, even if it's a lovely stone, gift it to somebody else after you've cleansed the stone. I mean, really cleanse the stone. Okay. Thank you, Sue Toffee. That's lovely. That's true. I don't know. I have no idea. That's up to it's if it should be in the side. There's usually two things. One is chat and one is just sort of a I don't know what the other part of it is, but it can cover up your comments. I know I've done a couple lives with people and I couldn't see the comments and I never knew why. Is anybody else having trouble getting the comments section? Because Trish sure apparently seems to be having a problem with it. Hi, Kevin's Loving Vibrations. Tarot, good to see you here again today. I'm going to show you another deck that I use occasionally, and it's really good. I'm trying to figure out ways to train people to understand all the different disciplines that I've had enough years and time to go look at. These are called astrology reading cards, and it's not a big fat deck, but it's all the signs, all the planets, and all the houses. And especially if the house part of the tarot of the astrology confuses you, it has some good layouts to practice it. And so I thought I'd pull a card for you today so you could kind of see what it looks like. And what I got was Yana Aquarius. And Aquarius is this energy is freedom loving, rebellious, idealistic, and technological. And there's a whole lot going on in Aquarius right now. Jupiter just went back into Aquarius. It will be in there until December. Then it will move out of Aquarius and it will not be back in Aquarius for a long, long time. Jupiter is a giver of abundance, and the Aquarian energy is not only visionary, but it's also technological. It speaks to the future and has ideals about how the future can be compared with the past. Popular mythology has long talked about coming of the age of Aquarius, a utopian vision of peace, freedom, and the united brotherhood of mankind. This energy is also known for its friendliness, camaraderie, genius, and integrating various paradigms together. The other thing Aquarius is known for is Aquarians can be very stubborn. They can be very self-centered, but they're almost always creative. So somebody got a no and no. I don't know what they're going no about. They're kind of okay. Oh yeah, you're an Aquarian. I had two brothers who were Aquarians, and they both were very good at what they did because they had to live in their heads and deal with things like that. They were both, one's a lawyer and one was a doctor, but they both practiced in ways that used their Aquarian energies. Well, guys, I love having all of y'all here, but my voice is starting to go again, and I have one more reading I have to do that's going to be about an hour long. Um, tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I don't know about how, I'll try to find out what I can about comments being hidden. Obviously, they don't hide them from me because I couldn't do my show, but I'll try to find that out. And by the way, tech support comes home this weekend, so I can go back to having 2 cameras, which is absolutely wonderful. Tomorrow, I will be back on again at 1 o'clock with a lilac in my garden, the lilac lantern. And she will be with, Andrea will be with me, and we're going to go over things she's wanted to know about the garden. We're also going to go over her favorite stones and some things like that we talked about a little bit this morning with her. And like I said, I'm trying to teach people about more disciplines. So I've invited Heart and Soul Connected, Allie. She's going to come be on my channel, and she's going to talk about I Ching. I Ching, the thing with the coins. I had someone, it's that one thing I never learned. I mean, I learned a whole lot about all the other stuff. I learned nothing about I Ching. So she's going to come and explain it to me, and if she can explain it to me, she can explain it to anybody. I actually got coins in a book and was going to learn it this year, and I sat and read the book. And I knit, and I do all that kind of handwork, and I've had friends who said, don't even try to talk to me about that stuff. I just could never figure that out. And I kind of think me and my feelings about I Ching is like their feelings about knitting. It's like in the book there's these like 2 knitting needles, and there's a little striggle of yarn, and then they're all like a thing. And that's kind of what I Ching feels like to me. Okay. Oh, yeah, well then you need to, okay, then there are 2 different sections, one called chat and one called comments. And I'm going to pull a flower for us when we leave the garden today to see what we got. Oh. Everlasting Daisy. Those are those really pretty daisies that have lots and lots and lots of petals. And it says, its meaning is fortitude, and it says, be brave and dig deep. So that's what we're supposed to do. And well, I will hope to see some of you again tomorrow, all of you if you can make it. And if you want to have a question answered with Andre and I, you can put it in the comments section. I'm going to set up a thing right after I get off the air saying we'll be on tomorrow at 1. Anyway, everybody take care. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for the people who supported me. Remember to like, share,